When I entered the building, I would describe it as tiptoeing into the building. And it was just real important for me to get that relationship. I knew that the success of this position depended on that relationship. The new teachers, they latch onto you very quickly as a resource. The veteran teachers, the ones that have been there for a while, that may not necessarily see the position as beneficial, that's always a tiptoe situation.
We talked with that situation, that when this coaching team started, we talked about quick wins. And sometimes your quick wins are ultimately not the job you really want to do. You really want to, help model lessons, you want to do things like that, but sometimes your first quick win is get this teacher in another teacher's classroom so she can see this strategy in practice, or provide the resources for a teacher in order to implement a new strategy. And so you might not think of those, especially providing resources, as a typical coaching strategy, but if it gets you in the door and helps you begin to have that conversation, it's important. So you have to find ways. You have to know the teachers well enough, or take a little time to know what their needs are, to find ways to enter into their classrooms. Because once you're able to enter in, then you're able to develop a deeper relationship, I think.
Go ahead. I think one of the hard things as the dean versus maybe the instructional coach is having that evaluative portion to our job. As a coach, you don't want to go in, you want to be able to be on their side, you want to help, you want to offer suggestions and things like that, but then you're turning around, you have to go in, you have to observe them, and it counts. So when you're doing that, I feel like then the teachers start to see you more on an administrative side rather than on a coaching side. And that's just one of those parts of the job that we have to do. And I just tried to, as I went in and evaluated, I would go in and I would just say, everything that I say here is just to make you better. I just want you to become a better teacher. And then I would just have conversation rather than sitting there with a rubric and going through all this framework and everything. I said, this is the paperwork that I have to fill out, but this is the conversation that's necessary. And so I tried to focus more on what that necessary conversation was and tried to make it into a coaching experience rather than in an evaluative experience for those teachers. And that's been some of my best coaching that has come out of that, because we've gotten to talk about, you scored here, but these are some things you could do, and how do you see that, we could do this differently, or what can I do to support you to help you grow in this area? And so I feel like teachers may have walked away with more than just an evaluation or a post-observation conference, that we actually got to have a coaching session instead of that. And so that's my least favorite part of my job, but I just try to turn it into a coaching opportunity. And also too, for those veteran teachers that don't necessarily always want to come, they see you as a sign of weakness, that they're admitting that they aren't perfect. It kind of forces them to have that conversation with you, and then I've found that teachers come back and they want to start talking to you about certain things. They've tried something new, or they have something going on and they want you to see that. So something that could have been negative has turned into something positive, I think.